So, for those of you that have never seen this, anybody seen this before? You guys have seen the tent? No. So this is our decon tent right here. This is an inflatable tent. You'll find this in the trailer, which is usually parked over here. In the event there'd be some kind of decon events, we would be asking you guys to assist the clinical staff with getting the tent set up. We're actually planning on doing an Exelon limerick radiation drill in a few weeks. So we want to bust this out. This is what we're actually going to use. In the event there'd actually be a limerick incident where they would bring one of their employees who's been exposed to radiation, we would actually be using that room there. Everybody been in that room?
Yes.
Yeah. You've seen it? So that's sort of a transition room in the AA. What would happen is the ambulance would pull up, they would drop the patient go through that room and into the AA from the outside, and they would be decon and treated inside AA, and they would remain in there until they were clean and ready to be moved on somewhere else. For the sake of the drill, we're not doing that. Exelon does not want to go into the building for their own safety. They want to stay outside. So the alternative option is the tent here. So what we're going to do the day of the drill is we're going to bust the tent out. We're going to set it up right here. And all the patient care decontamination is going to stay inside the tent for the sake of just this drill. Just understand this is only for this time, just because of COVID-19. Normally they would drop the ambulance at the edge of this sidewalk and go straight into that room. From a security perspective, you guys, the expectation is to assist with setup, but really what we want from you is sort of crowd control and vehicle control as well. Having ambulances come in and out isn't that bad, but I think what we would want to do is we would want to probably divert them and have them either park over there or around the side of the building and come down the sidewalk that way. We would want to keep this area free from any vehicle traffic, as well as foot traffic. So now, having been here about half an hour, I've noticed there's a lot of people that use this entrance. You'd have to really set something up to block it, and I'll show you. There are some things in here. So this all here, most of this equipment is for setting up the radiation decon area, but in this closet, we have some stanchions, we have a bunch of these here, and I know whatever resources you guys have from protective services like cones. So just understand we have things in here if you need to divert people away. The biggest thing is we don't want them going into the hot zone. The hot zone is basically where all the treatment is. We don't want anybody just meandering in. So from the security perspective, the big thing for you guys is just to keep people out. Obviously that might be a challenge depending on what time of the day it is. So that's why we want to try to use all the resources we have as far as stanchions, any cones we have, and however you divert them is really up to you. If you want them to go around, which I guess is probably the easiest instead of walking around this building. So that's sort of my recommendation. From the maintenance side of things, you guys, how many guys are on night shift?
One.
One?
We maintenance guys, one maintenance guy overnight.
So how many, I should say, how many protective service maintenance guys are on at any given shift at night?
There's 4 security guys and 1 maintenance guy on overnight, yes.
So this tent theoretically can be put up like 2 people. Actually, you could probably do 1. The only reason you wouldn't do 1 is because this thing's really heavy when it's wrapped up. But it really only takes 1 or 2 people to actually get the tent set up and blown up. There's some attachments that go along with it, but I'm not going to get into that. That's a little bit more of a lengthy training process. So if they were to call you in the event of either a decon event or a radiation incident at Limerick, what you would do is you would pull the tent out. It's on the car here, and this thing opens up. There's bolts that keep this together, and it slides out. Clips here, a couple clips. This opens up. This thing is in a case.
That's what it looks like.
This is the hardest part here because this weighs this is a lot of weight to it when it's scrunched up like this. Once you open it and you actually inflate it, it only takes 2 people to slide it around. It's like a bounce house. Everybody ever seen a bounce house? It's kind of the same thing. So we're gonna go ahead and unroll this.
You got it, Jim?
You can adjust it once you get open. Grab that in, and we're gonna just open this up. Grab that other corner, we're gonna slide it up a little bit. Now, if you notice here, this is where you're gonna pump the tent up, so you want to make sure you line this up in an area where you have access to that pump, and I'll show you that in a second. One of the restrictions I noticed here is it looks like you only have access to power there. Am I correct?
Yes.
You're hooking along there. So wherever you hook the tent up, make sure you have an extension cord long enough to hit that spot here. So that's really important. So you want to make sure this, I would say, is probably facing that way. So what we're going to do, guys, is we're going to turn it this way.
Yeah. Well, the outlet right there is designed to use for this because that's where the decon room is.
And then we're just gonna move it my direction. Perfect. All right, now we're gonna open this up the rest of the way. This here is the pump. This is a 2-way pump. So depending on which side is how it's going to work. So the side it's on now, I'm not really sure if I can turn it on. One side is suction. The other side is going to provide air. So when you deflate this thing, what's nice is, if you ever dealt with an air mattress before, got to roll it up, push all the air out. There's none of that here. All you have to do when you actually deflate this thing is make sure it's on the right side where it's sucking, and it'll drop the tent down real easily. So that's what's nice about this. Over. So, if you're wondering what this thing is here, you'll probably never use this. If the fire department ever came, they could use their oxygen packs to actually fill the tent with their oxygen, but we never do that, so you'll never need to use this. This here kind of clicks. So when you push this thing in, it's going to leak air. That's also how you're going to inflate it. When you pull this out, it's now locked, the air is trapped inside. So what you're going to do is take this. This is going to go around. Takes a couple minutes. Now what they're doing is perfect. By getting underneath and help lifting, it actually fills it a little quicker, so that's good you guys are doing that. And that's probably the easiest part of the tent, actually. So now your tent is up. You can pick it up on the corners with probably 2 people, because now it's actually easier to move now because the weight's kind of distributed a little easier. And you can slide this thing down, you can bring it over, whatever is easier for getting the patient in. This actually stays on all the time. This is for water hookup, which we're not doing today. We're not going to hook anything up because it takes a little bit longer of time, but this is really probably the biggest thing for you guys as far as getting the tent up. Getting this is probably the most important. The attachments are a little bit different, but this is a huge piece right here. So once you have this up, you're in really good shape. And you can see how easy it is. Like I said, the hardest part is just lifting it off the cart. It's really heavy. So getting the thing pumped up is probably the easiest thing to do. Have you guys seen the inside of this? We'll take a look.